I'll give Doko Don this. That is one of my favorite Japanese titles for a game. It's onomatopoeia for the sound of the hammer, and it's got a nice rhythm to it. Doko Don was a Taito arcade game. Taito had a real affinity for these single-screen action games, and they kept the concept alive well into the 90s. The impression I have is that the arcade game was a minor, but not overwhelming success for Taito. Big enough that they'd port it around a lot and make a sequel on the Famicom, but not so successful that they would follow it up in the arcades. The PC Engine version of Doko Don is a fairly faithful port. The stages and secrets come through mostly intact. The plot of the game is that Bob and Jim are lumberjacks who use hammers for some reason, and when the local princess is kidnapped by monsters, they take it upon themselves to rescue her. Getting her back means making their way through 50 stages, where the goal on every level is to eliminate all of the enemies. You're given 6 credits when you start the game, which means 1 to begin if you're playing single player, and then 5 continues after that. If you're playing 2 players, then you've got a share. Eliminating an enemy is a 2-step process. First, you have to bonk them on the head with the hammer. That squishes them down. Then you can pick them up by moving on top of them, and throw them by pressing button 2. Any enemy struck by a thrown object is itself killed, and destroyed enemies bounce off the wall and turn into fruit. Collecting fruit is worth 100 points. And once all of the enemies on the stage is destroyed, you get taken to the next level. There are some complications beyond that. It's possible to carry multiple enemies around simultaneously. The more enemies you bundle up like this, the more targets they can pass through when you throw them. But as you're carrying more and more, your lumberjack slows down. Just carrying 1 will slow you down a little bit, but you can still jump to the maximum height. But if you're carrying 3, then you're slowed down a lot, and your jump is reduced significantly. There's a meter at the bottom of the screen, and when you start a new life, it has 1 dot filled in. That indicates how many things a thrown stack of enemies can pass through before it's bounced back. You can increase that by collecting red potions, though you'll be lucky to see one once every other level, and even if you can see it, that doesn't mean you can get to it. On the other hand, the polka-dotted, I guess it's an apple, but the spotted fruit is poisonous. You still get 100 points for it, you just lose all of your built-up power. And since the spotted fruit could hide behind other fruits, or get thrown into you, it is incredibly difficult to build up that meter. The only real way that you're going to advance it is by collecting the circle with a P in it, because that fills the meter up to full. There's other ways that you can defeat enemies, the abilities of special hammers that you can find on some stages. This one is an extra powerful blow. It sends any enemy you hit flying without you needing to throw them. And this hammer is a ranged weapon. You throw it instead of swing it, and it stuns enemies just like your regular hammer. There's a few more kinds of power-ups you can collect. The rarer ones tend to appear at the start of stages, and then vanish after a few seconds, so you have to collect them quickly. The blue potion increases your speed. It's something that's always handy to get. The book will shake the entire screen and destroy all of the enemies. Basically, getting it means you're automatically moving on to the next level. And the item that looks like a queen chess piece freezes time for everyone. Speaking of time, if you're taking too long on a stage, then a red enemy appears and flies around. In fact, it's there even before you've taken too long, hanging out in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, where it was supposed to be cut off by the edge of your television set. Once it starts moving, it's not difficult to avoid assuming you're not caught up in something else, though it gets faster and more aggressive with time. Every 10 stages, there's a boss, and these will require knocking out enemies to throw into them. The bosses really aren't anything too spectacular. There are regular enemies that I find more dangerous than most of them. At this point, I really can't put off talking about a major problem with Doko Don any longer. Or at least, a major problem with this port. there are some significant problems with hit detection and how you attack. There is a pretty significant delay between the point when you hit the attack button and when the hammer swings. It seems to be around 1/10 of a second, which isn't a lot, but if you're doing something very precise, like jumping over a hole and hitting an enemy that you're going to land on, it's enough to throw your timing completely off. On top of that, enemy hitboxes are significantly larger than their sprite, and of course, any contact with an enemy will kill you. And capping things off, enemy damage takes priority over your hammer swing, which compounds the problem of the delay in the attack, but also shows up in other situations, like when you jump up to attack an enemy from below. When I was playing this version of Doko Don, I was saying, I should have killed that guy way too often, which of course led to wondering if there was a skill issue or if there actually was a problem with the game, but because I was recording everything, it wasn't hard to find instances where there was obviously a problem. It's frustrating because there's so much that this port of Doko Don gets right, but those are key elements of the gameplay, and they feel wrong. Although there are 50 stages in the game, there are also some special hidden areas. Smash the hammer in the right spot and a key appears, opening a secret exit from certain stages. The exit on stage 1 takes you to a password room, but the other 4 hidden rooms let you collect an orb, and if you have all 4 orbs at the end of the game, then you get a password that you can enter in that password room and unlock an additional 50 stages. This version of Doko Don doesn't seem to have the strongest following in Japan. The one person I found with anything significant to say liked the game, though they found it to be easy. They also mentioned that the hammer hit detection was not very good. Otherwise, the information I found were commentless, low review numbers. I think at this point my feelings on this version of Doko Don are clear. It's so close to something that I'd enjoy, but I wind up feeling like the Famicom version plays better. I'm sure if you go back and look at the video I did on the Famicom version, I probably said that the PC Engine version was better. Well, that's recency bias for you. The original game, Doko Don, is good, and the PC Engine version of Doko Don contains all of the things that were good in the arcade game. It's just the controls and hit detection needed one more pass. And those are pretty significant parts of the game. It's not a complete disaster. I'm sure that if I practiced it, I could get the timing down. But that's a pretty big commitment for just this port.